What's going on, everybody? We've got 20 contestants to talk about. This is the Idol Breakdown. I am Clark Beckham, former runner-up of American Idol, and we're going to go through all of them. Let's go. Let's start with Kanan. I feel like I'm about to give the most frustrating, annoying review of Kanan's performance, because here it comes. Vocally, it's 12 out of 10. He's doing stuff as good as anyone I've ever heard try to do that stuff has ever done it, if that makes sense. What he goes for, he's the best I've ever heard. The only thing lacking now is a storytelling arrangement. And that, I'm sure, rolled a bunch of people's eyes when I said that. But I feel like he and a handful of contestants struggled with this, where they would go from 0 to 100 too fast. They would leave us behind. It would kind of be, all right, let me do some soft stuff, and boom, let me do some big stuff. And it should be a journey. You should let us, I've always said, when you're arranging songs and when you're singing, you want to entice the listener to want the thing you're about to do before you do it, and then give it to them. Instead of, all right, now buckle up. Here's some unbelievably high notes with incredible pitch and incredible accuracy and control and wonderful tone. If you make me want that badly in the context of the arrangement and then do it, it's the difference from going, whoa, wow, what talent, to this is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. And music has the ability to do that, where you hear something and it's just, you can't fathom how good something is. And usually what comes out is, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Now, we have heard that terminology from the judges about Kanan multiple times. So there is a factor of maybe you just have to be there to fully get it. But for me, it doesn't bring me along. I'm not losing my mind. I'm losing my mind from talent alone, not from being moved myself. And I relate personally in my life to all the stuff he's singing. But I think that's the next step for him. Drew. Really great belting notes here. This is the strength of hers, belting. And the melody choices were really nice. Great song. And she's obviously very connected. She even yelled, "Thank you, Jesus," between stanzas, which I can't tell you how much I love that for a bunch of reasons. Personal reasons, but also the deep conviction that it takes to just yell, not sing, not "Thank you, Jesus," not sing something, but just to yell it in between phrases, tells me that what she's singing about is so deeply rooted in her soul that cries of "Thank you, Jesus," "Thank you, Jesus," have to come out. And you can't ask for any more than that from a singer. We saw tears at the end. This was just great. It was a great song choice. When she changed the melody up, it was beautiful, really tasty, dissonant thing she was adding to the chords just with her voice. This was probably, this was my favorite for sure. This is my favorite performance of hers from the season. Desmond. Desmond does what Desmond does, which is giving it all he's got, dancing, doing really, really, really difficult things really, really well. I'm not crazy about this song choice. It was vibing. I bet the producers were so psyched that they had an up-tempo song like this. And I can't tell you how insanely difficult it is to sing that melody that he was singing. "It's Only You That Makes Me All I Am," that was up in the rafters, and dancing and keeping the pitch really, really strong. I promise you, however hard you think that is, multiply it by 10 and you're still not there. I don't know of many people who can do that. However, just because it's really difficult doesn't mean that it's equal parts good or effective. And of course, it's a little bit of semantics because we have to say what is good. Is it something that moves me and something I want to listen to over and over again? No. For me personally, am I incredibly impressed by him? Yes. Does he give everything he has in his performance? Yes. Am I moved by him emotionally? Yeah. I feel like he's telling the story and I'm fully involved. But hearing that line over and over again, compared to all of the other songs and melodies that he could pick from, wasn't my favorite song choice. Philo. Ugh. Great freaking song choice. One of the greatest songs of all time. And when you've got a great singer and a great melody and a message that hits home, you kind of just have a grand slam moment in singing. And that's what he did. This was a great example of a deeply thought out and executed arrangement. Taking us in the beginning where it's just his voice and maybe some choir ooze going on in the background, to rise and build, and he looks over. That's where the parents sit, is stage right. So when he just looks over, looks straight at his mom and is singing that. Didn't like point and say, hey guys, I'm going to be looking at my mom, so make sure you get that camera shot. Just for himself, looks over at his mom, eye to eye, and sings this to her. Really just incredible. When you make the message of the song more important than the stakes of the performance, you go into this other world, like Super Saiyan-esque performance quality. It just goes somewhere else, somewhere magical and spiritual. And that's what he does here. This was fantastic. I'm so glad we get to see him do a full arrangement so we can see this path that he takes. And he's said, I've talked to Philo a little bit, he's said that most of his arrangements have been that, but in Hollywood Week, they've cut up arrangements because of time constraints, and all they show is the crazy run stuff. So it appears that he does too many, but really we just never get to see the full picture. And now we do. It's great. If I had a critique, which I do, one way he could get better, something he could focus on, when he hits those really high notes that just kind of pop up out of nowhere and are really powerful, and the rasp is good, the tone's good, the pitch sometimes, probably 40% of the time, maybe 50% of the time, is just off. But it's so good, and he recovers so fast, no one's going to say anything about it. But if he corrected that, it would go from 9.5 out of 10 to 10 out of 10. Couldn't be better, flawless, I'm going to die, viral, just like the best thing I've ever heard, all that. All that takes is taking the note and practicing the interval. The interval is the space between two notes. So if I'm singing this note, I'm sailing right behind. Let's just do it on I'm sailing. So right there, for example, I think I was just a little under. So if I'm practicing that, I'm not practicing sailing. I'm practicing the jump from I'm sailing right. And I'm just going to slowly work on that interval over and over and over again. Just walking through. Something I teach in my Vocal Foundations course is to walk through slowly each note in the melody. Plant your foot down in that note. Make sure it is solid. No tempo. Just wait while you're singing that note till you're right in the middle and you feel good, and then work on this jump, almost like hopscotch, like jumping from one square to the next. Land in the center of that square and see if you can stick the landing and keep your balance on one foot. That's pretty much what singing on pitch is. And if you just walk through that, that'll get fixed immediately. Overall, this is one of my favorite performances of the night. And one of my favorite things that you could do is to like, subscribe. And if you want, see, here's the thing. I want you to like it because that helps me. I want you to subscribe because that helps me and costs you nothing. Notifications, you're going to get notified. So if you want to get notified, click it. But if you don't want to get notified, you don't want any emails, you don't want any extra stuff, that's where liking and subscribing comes in, because it helps me and costs you nothing. Josh. Oh, so beautiful. Sing. You're everything I hope for. Yes. You're everything I need. Dude, the restraint. So good. You're everything I hope for. Yeah. Buddy. So proud. This was so strong. The restraint was just perfect. And right when it started and I saw he wasn't on the piano, I was like, oh man, come on, dude, show us, because he's a world-class piano player, truly. And he's not showing us that. He showed us in the audition. We haven't seen it since. But then he started singing and I was like, oh, no, this is perfect. This is perfect. And we got to see that he's got some of arguably the best vocal tone of anyone of the season. And he just delivered the line, and golly, I believed it. Everything that came out of his mouth, I believed. The restraint that has not been a common thing that we've been able to witness throughout the season of other singers. It's kind of like, go, 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 go. Look at all these singers. I've got to keep up. Josh is like, I don't have to do any of that. I can just sing this song and mean it. And good Lord. So good. A masterclass of just sitting there and delivering the song. He did give us a little bit on the very end of a falsetto run. That, in my opinion, were like 3 notes too long. And I only say they were 3 notes too long because the edges were soft. If it was a sharp pop, 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 I'd be great. But the note is not, come on, man, get those sharp. It's, if they're not sharp, don't do them. For the performance, practice and get them sharp. But if you can't get them sharp where you're nailing it at a minimum of 9 times out of 10, don't do them. Now, it wasn't a big flub by any means, and there was a lot of value there, exactly how he sang it. But if I was going to critique it, which I am, that's the only thing I would possibly say, is there were just a couple notes on the end that I think went outside of his, when I say range, I mean the range that is, I can nail this every single time perfectly, went just outside of that range, but just barely, because it was still really nice. Thunderstorm. Oh, you won't kick down, now you won't tear down, coming after me. Okay, Thunderstorm, who's been my number 1 recently on my top 12 list. I didn't like this one so much. I thought I didn't get any of the juice, any of the razzle dazzle, and I don't mean razzle dazzle as in acrobatic stuff. I mean just usually the razzle dazzle is just in his eyes alone and in his delivery. And I didn't like the song choice for him. I thought it was too just right down the middle the way he did it. I would have loved, if you're going to do that song, I think you would need to completely redo it. I'm not in love with his belting range tone, how it's kind of that grovelly sound when he stays there for a long time. Now, when he's in the middle of his range, mid-upper part of his range, and he shoots up there every once in a while for accents, I die. But when he stays up there, I'm not a fan of it as much in that application. I missed a little bit from Thunderstorm. I think this was the first time where I wasn't just dying. My standard is very high for him, and I was expecting wildly special stuff, and this was not wildly special to me. Amanda. Some people want diamond rings, some just want everything. Everything means nothing if I ain't got you. When Amanda hits, her golden moments are world class, spectacular. The vocal stuff that she does, and when she chooses to do them. This arrangement was to me. it was another case of we're just going to go for it, and you kind of leave the audience behind instead of slowly take. And now this is a very personal opinion, preference type approach of arrangements that I'm saying. There's no per se right or wrong way to do this, but for me, you want to take the audience along with you as you go, and this felt like she kind of left them behind. This was great. I felt it. She was executing. Again, some of the vocal stuff she did was bonkers. And it was good. For me, for her, I would give it a 8 out of 10, which is good. It might sound like I'm disappointed. And I guess it's kind of like Thunderstorm. I expect from her 10 out of 10s that blow me away every single time. And this was an 8, which is great. But I hope to see more from her. Maybe just more not intricate, arrangements that take me on a journey here and make me want the thing that she's about to give before she gives it. If that makes sense, which is its own craft. It's not just what's an arrangement that shows my voice off. Nope. It's what's an arrangement that entices us and hypnotizes us and delivers what we want before we even know we want it. John.
I'd give anything I had to talk to her again. Sure, the sun will come up.
Man, John, this was great. I love that he got an opportunity to sing this song for his friend, Maggie. I'm so glad that Ryan asked about it. I was like, I want to hear about Maggie. She sounds awesome in this song, and it's clearly touching him. And I think this is kind of a different video here, but I think when people see someone crying, a lot of times they can think, okay, how do I get out of here? What can we talk about? Can I, distract? Like, let's get out of here. And with pain or, something like that, or like, I don't know, if you're really sad because like a sports team lost or something, yeah, okay, how can we distract this person? But what's interesting is with loss, if you've ever experienced serious loss, when you're deeply upset about that person, you're crying and you're mourning, it kind of helps to talk about them. Like I would love to tell you about this person. And it almost lets them live on. And I'm so glad that Ryan was like, who's this? What happened? Who are you talking about? And he was like, name was Maggie. And that's her mom over there. There are 2 girls that were killed. I'm not sure how, but both her parents were there and we got to see them. And I thought it was a really beautiful moment, not just seeing him emotional, but let's sit here for a second and find out what he's crying about, because this is important stuff. And the line in the song, won't you tell that angel I love her as soon as you can? Oh, man, that's so real and really well written. And he let us in. And very brave and vulnerable of him to do. Let's talk about Maddie. Maddie. Love Maddie. I thought her pitch was great. Much better. There was a note from last week or the week before about her pitch just needing to focus, and no problem here. Getting right on top of those notes. It feels like she takes 20 seconds to really settle into the song, and then you can tell the difference. She gets better and better as she goes. The only note I would say here is usually something that I've said to be a strength of hers, but Luke mentions enunciating a little more, and that's really it. I would just say you know what you're singing, but we don't know what you're about to sing, so you really have to enunciate more than you think you need to give us that. And that tone, that forward edgy tone, a lot of times can be very easy to mumble because it's kind of placed in that same area. So you need to extra enunciate those. But this was awesome. Love hearing her sing. Olivier. Ooh, sing.
Tell me now you know. Makes me feel like I can't live without
Buddy, can't even talk. Have I been sleeping on this guy this whole time? The first line, oh my gosh, just from the jump. And I love that it was just guitar and his voice. It was like heavy electric overdrive guitar and just his voice, which was cool. And just crushing. Pitch was great. Tone was great. Power was there. I was like, oh, for some reason, I just thought of him as, yeah, he can do the rocker thing. Will America want the rocker thing? Now I hear him as, oh my gosh, he's going to make America want the rocker thing because his performances are great. This one for me was way, way, way far better than anything that I've heard him do. And maybe I've just been sleeping on him, but buddy, this was strong. Brianna. Ugh, I think she might have the best belting tone of anybody. Great, great, great song. She picks great songs for her. Beautiful opening. The top nice and soft. It was not just a verse where it felt like she was bored until she get to the chorus. There's as much value from the first note as any other note in the whole song. And every note that came out of her felt like a strength of hers. The falsetto, the mid-range, the belting, of course. That's how we know her. She crushed. I will say, this goes for a lot of contestants. I think I have this note on someone else. The only thing, and I have to be really nitpicky here because there's not much to critique at all. The only thing is, the next step would be don't let your eyes go flat. And the way you do that is you stay focused the whole time on what you're singing about. And it's really hard. Because if you're thinking about, I will climb up on that mountain, your eyes are saying things. But if you start thinking, where's the camera? Boom, eyes can go flat at that point. And then it's just nothing's really happening here. And we can see that a little bit with her randomly. Again, being pretty nitpicky. This was my favorite performance from her. Let's talk about Victor.
For this I give you praise.
Yes, Victor, yes. Yes, 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 yes. This is how you craft an arrangement to take us on a journey. I was enthralled the entire time. I was on a roller coaster and I didn't know if I was going to do a flip, if we were going to go into a tunnel, if there was a ghost that was about to pop out. I didn't know what was going to happen this entire time. And it wasn't just like a haunted roller coaster where things pop out at you. No, it was everything had purpose and we were moving, and every line and every emotion that he portrayed and every band direction, every single thing that happened was perfect and just took us on this beautiful ride with him. He crushed vocally. He was doing his signature give everything he has thing. This was perfect. This is my favorite performance from him of the season, and I've liked a lot of performances of his. Bailey.
I can feel the pain again in their eyes, but I don't know going.
We see Bailey didn't get sent home, which is great. And even better than that, he nails the performance. Not just the performance itself, but the song choice. I was like, great. This is your thing. This is what you do. Like middle range, you don't need to do anything other than this. Middle range, middle tempo, connecting, tone. This is what he's great at, and he did it really, really, really well. Luke said it best when he said, there were things I learned about you watching you sing. Goals. That is exactly what you want when you're emotionally connecting and delivering a message. If someone feels like they're learning more about you, they can see deep into your soul and your personality, your unique personality, and they're learning more about you as they watch you perform and do art. That is You can't get better than that. Can't get better than that. Isaiah, Simone Silk.
So when the sky is gray, baby, I will give you blue.
We're just getting best performance of the season after best performance of the season from these contestants. This was Isaiah's, by far, his best performance for me. Every single note was where it needed to be. The pitch was perfect. His tone was perfect. There wasn't an ounce of try hard here. There wasn't an ounce of watch this, let me do this so you can be impressed. None of that. Just right in the pocket, totally relaxed. I cannot imagine him doing anything else that could have made this better. This was a perfect performance. I say that. I say couldn't do anything else. There's one thing I think he could have done that would have made this better, and he fell a time or two into the letting his eyes go flat. You got to remember what you're thinking about, and you got to mean it the whole time. It's really hard, but emotional focus will keep your eyes active. Stuff's happening in them, and we can see into you, and we're drawn in by that. Very small note, but overall, this vocally, one of my favorite performances from anybody of the whole season. Gabi.
Who said I could do it all alone? You're walking down that wrong road.
Man, when she goes for it and she hits those golden moments in her voice, she's the best singer on the show. As far as talent goes, I think she's the best singer of the season. These moments where she hits, she does some just otherworldly stuff. Perfectly accurate, incredible range, incredible power. She does fall into the going from 0 to 100 too fast and not having an arrangement that takes us somewhere. It's more of here's the really soft part. And then here it comes, buckle up, I'm about to go crazy. And we enjoy the crazy, but it would be better if there's a path to the crazy. If there's a path to the hype going crazy moment instead of just yanking the mic off the stand and the band boom and just going for it. Take us there. Tell us a story. I used to roll my eyes so hard. I just rolled my eyes at myself saying that. But when people would say, tell a story, I'm like, ugh, whatever. But I'm telling you, that's the best analogy that I can come up with. Bring us along with you in these arrangements when you go from 0 to 100. Take your time. Slater.
Used to say so shine, better than sunshine, it's better than moonshine.
For Slater, I thought this was fine. This was for me kind of like Thunderstorm. I thought he sang all the right notes. It was a nice song. Didn't do anything for me past that. Zale.
Give me just a chance, you'll never get away from the sound of a woman that loves you.
This is so good from Zale. Really beautiful tone, as always. There is a very unique artistry element about her that no one else really has, and her belting was in control. I love that she didn't kind of, sometimes she'll venture out into notes that are a little bit, they're in her control, but not 100% in her control. And she did not do that this time. Every note was fully in her range of capability, and she delivered really well. Her falsetto was beautiful. This was just a great Zale performance. If you're a fan of Zale, you're a fan of this. And I am a fan, and I was a fan of this. Jamal. Sheesh.
But that's how
Another great example of bringing us along in this arrangement. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it drove us to where the arrangement was going and where his voice was going. One thing that makes Jamal stand out is he can do runs and crazy vocal stuff like everybody else, but his runs are melodic. They sing really well. They're not just a thing that's like, whoa, here are a bunch of notes really fast. It's this beautiful melody by itself if you slowed it down. It seems like this is key and so powerful at the end of the song, and even when he's talking to Ryan, he was desperate to communicate this message to people. That's where you sing from. What he's singing about, and just pour your passion into that message and let everything else go from there. And Jamal does that. This was strong, strong, strong. Because it's easy to like, all right, great. Gospel stuff, faith-based, got it. Let's do a gospel song. Let's get choppy and let me sing my face off. That's easy to do. And a lot of contestants did that. But he took us somewhere with it. And I felt every word and I believed every word. I believe that he believed it. It was as if it was more important for him for people to genuinely know that God will love them forever than it was to get America's votes. And that's where you got to sing from. Che.
No, they can't stop the time. What you have to say. These songs of freedom.
I thought of this performance, as usual, was flawless. Thought he hit all the right notes. His tone was great. He hit some runs that were very high degree of difficulty. Very impressive. The message of the song was close to his heart. He meant what he was singing. I wasn't crazy about the song. Of all the songs to sing, and again, I know it meant something special to him, which brings value because we could see that sincerity. But I just wasn't crazy about the song. It didn't do a lot for me. Colby. Colby ends the show, and I think this was another case of 0 to 100 before we were ready for 100. The execution is nuts, The stuff that she is trying to do is crazy, and she's pulling it off. She's executing all of these wild vocal ideas perfectly, flawlessly. I just have to want to go there, and I don't want to go there. It's kind of with Kanan. It's like I'm just hearing an unbelievable singer, but I'm not emotionally moved. And I might be alone here because the judges were losing their minds. And it might be you had to be there. But I also have a feeling that a lot of people in the chat and comments could be going, Clark, you're out of your mind. But this is what I felt. We've gotten this a lot with Colby. Incredible vocals, and I just don't feel anything because I think she's just trying to run as much as she can. Just my personal opinion. We say goodbye to Grayson, who I thought we would say goodbye to, not because of her, just because of where she was in the show, how much of her we saw, and the opportunity we had to fall in love with her. And also, someone's got to go of the 24, which is really hard because they're all like winner level contestants, in my opinion. And we say goodbye to Penny. We say goodbye to Kiana. These three I called. Not proud of that. We lost Mikey, who I didn't think we'd lose, but I get it. It makes sense to me. And we have Bailey. That's great. I thought he would go, and he stays. Make sure you come watch the next episode. We're going to be talking about the top 14 that make it. And I'll be revealing my top 12, my new top 12. I'm just going to give me a little time to sit. I'm not going to reorder it after one performance. And I'll predict who I think is going home next in the next episode. If you're watching this as a premiere, you can click the live stream link that I'm putting there, and we'll have a live Q&A. If you're watching this like, oh man, I wanted to do that. That would have been fun. Watch this as a premiere. It's every Wednesday and Friday at 7 o'clock Central Time, and it's a live Q&A. If you have questions, you have to ask them through a super chat, which is a donation to the channel. Or if you're a member, which is only $5 a month, you can ask as many questions for free as you want, and I will answer them. Okay? All right. I'll see you guys soon.